Trump's going to go big. I mean, he's only going to have one more term, right? Can't run for re-election.
Right.
And so he's going to be thinking about legacy, and we're going to fix all these things. And,
no Obamacare?
No Obamacare.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, the ACA is so deeply ingrained. We need massive reform to make this work.
Okay, so that's a video that we played earlier this week on the show. You have the House Speaker, likely House Speaker, if Donald Trump wins the presidency, asked about Obamacare, which, as we will describe, is a very popular and obviously necessary law. And he goes, oh, no Obamacare. It's deeply ingrained. That's why we need massive reform. And obviously, when this is a corrupt ass Republican and Republican leadership talking about the ACA in that way, after about a decade plus of his party trying to kill it, a lot of people took from that, I think they're gonna try to repeal the ACA again, because that's what he said. That's what he's describing there. But that's not fair, they tell us. How dare we imply that they would do the thing they've been campaigning on since Obama? So he's backtracking, okay? A Trump campaign spokesperson, by the way, said that's not President Trump's policy position. As we'll get to, it very much has been. But anyway, Johnson says, despite the dishonest characterizations from the Harris campaign, the audio and transcript make clear that I offered no such promise to end Obamacare, and in fact acknowledge that the policy is deeply ingrained in our healthcare system. Okay, so what he just described is literally true and also deeply dishonest. Let me demonstrate how that can work in practice. So there's a big gap between me saying that's a good response to the controversy and me saying that's a good response to the controversy. You see how those are different? You can cite the literal words, but the fact that you were rolling your beady little eyes while you said it kind of makes the whole message. The words are less important than the fact that you were audibly groaning while saying it. And also, it's so strange that in your backtracking, you left off the part about the massive reforms because you seemed super excited to talk about those when you thought it was just a group of Republicans listening to you. Now, all of a sudden, you don't remember that part. Massive reforms, what name so? Anyway, I want to remind everyone of what Trump said in the debate. He said Obamacare was lousy healthcare, always was. It's not very good today. And what I said, that if we come up with something, we are working on things, we're going to do it, and we're going to replace it, which means getting rid of it. That's what that means.
A storm is tearing up the digital media industry. Only our audience can save us in these difficult times. Help us reach our goal of 100,000 new members at tyt.com/team.
They can say it's not his policy. He said at the debate, it's his policy. You should talk to your candidate, I think. Anyway, pressed for what they would replace it with, he said concepts of a plan, which means diddly squat. So right now, we gotta replace it. We got nothing, but that's not scaring us, okay? We're still gonna talk about this. And anyway, Trump also had a response to the news cycle that's come about from what Johnson said. And he said, Lion Kamala is giving a capital N news, capital C conference now saying that I want to end the Affordable Care Act. I never mentioned doing that. Never even thought about such a thing. She also said, I want to end Social Security. Likewise, never mentioned it or thought of it. She is the one that wants to end Social Security. Oh my God. And she will do it by putting the millions of migrants coming into our capital C country into it, which is not a thing. Kamala's a liar. Everything that comes out of her mouth is a lie. It's made up fiction. And she's doing it because she's losing and losing big. Okay, so really fast. That's all nonsense. But he said, I never mentioned doing that. I never even thought about such a thing. That lying woman said, I want to end the ACA. I never said I would do that. On his first day in office, Trump signed an executive order proclaiming, it is the policy of my administration to seek the prompt repeal of the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act. Let me be clear about one part of that. Not the prompt repeal and replacement of the ACA, the prompt repeal, I'm done, it's tweet length. It was what he did on day one. You know, the day that he gets to be a dictator. So he is lying to you in that comment. And again, I'm not reading this so that libs in the audience know where he stands on the ACA. I'm pretty sure they understand that. If you're a conservative, he just lied to you about something you probably use, something you and your family probably rely on. Do you remember what it was like before the ACA? Do you remember how terrible that was? God help you if you've ever been sick in your life, you may not be able to get health insurance. And if you do, and you have some sort of emergency, they will mine every piece of paperwork you've ever filled out, looking for any typo that they can use to throw you off your medical insurance right when you need it most. That is the system he is talking about going back to, and he is lying to your face about his decade-long quest to kill the ACA, which, as I said, is more popular than ever before. 62% approval, 37% lack of approval when you poll people in the most recent polls. And it was not always that way. It turns out people like having health insurance. Doesn't mean that the plan is perfect and it can be improved. That's not what they're talking about doing. They are super hot to kill the thing, and they're very vague about what they would do to replace it. Members make a difference here at TYT. You help make the show happen, and we see you in the chat with your loyalty badge. Click the join button to become a member today.